on. Ooh, my voice is loud. How exciting. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the October Gallery. I'm Eleri, curator here, and this is the wonderful painter, Yacout Hamdouch.
Hi, nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. It's really appreciated.
And welcome to the exhibition Poetic Threads, which you can see around us with a spotlight section on James Barner in the back room. We're very excited to speak to Yacout today to learn more about her work.
As well.
So we're going to get right to it. I wanted to start with your artistic journey. When did art come into your life?
So back in Morocco, my family's been collecting art from a very long time, and I dabbled in it. Like the houses of all of my uncles and family were full of books, full of paintings, full of pride, because it was there was this movement that's really important in Moroccan art, which is called the Casablanca School, l'École de Casablanca in French, and it's a movement that to this day we're so proud of, and every Moroccan has a book of this movement in their house, and especially if they're interested in art. So I was surrounded with it my whole life. Also, wherever we went, like my mother, back in the days, there were no phones, no social media, thank God, no distraction from the pleasure of getting bored, which is key, I think, to being able to sit down and create something to escape the boredom. And basically, everywhere we went, my mom took, paper and color pencils, and she would drop me and my brother with all the paper and the pencils and leave us be for hours. So
just go, just create.
Yes, just create, and whatever is inside, get it out,
Okay. And when did painting come into your life? Because you've actually had an interesting kind of trajectory of gemology in the past.
Yes,
so
I did. So I dabbled in many things because I think I wanted to feel some sort of security and something to fall back on, because when you're really young and you're scared and you're like, can I make it in the art world? Because so many struggles, so many have talent and are fantastic artists, and they struggle a lot. So I think at a young age I was more afraid than I am now, because I was like, okay, so I will study something and get a diploma that's secure. And as soon as I was done with studying gemology, and I told my father, please, like, now I'm safe. I'd love to go and pass the test to enter the School of Fine Arts in Milan, because at the end of the day, this is what I've always wanted. And thankfully, I've had very supportive parents, and I thank them. And yeah, so that's how it happened.
And so you were in Milan, and you were also in Florence, I believe?
I was in Florence for 1 year, learning about sculpture of jewelry, which was a very interesting approach, and which I intend to make a connection with my work actually at some point, not in jewelry terms, but sculpture of metal, because I really loved the idea of melting, of working a material in so many different possible ways, and it was a very fascinating craft to learn, inspiring. I loved it.
And your paintings that everyone can kind of see around us, they often begin with memory as a concept rather than direct observation, so to speak. Could you expand on that? When did that become your kind of guiding point?
So I think that I think I started to work because I needed to feel hope and a connection within humans and humanity as a whole, being to create a thread, which why the title was so well chosen, by the way. I painted to feel less alone, probably. And I think something that connects us all together is we all have core memories. We all had some moments when we felt that time simply stopped. Time stopped, and you can remember maybe a smell or a feeling or a warmth or something peculiar about a specific moment in a bubble in time, and I was fascinated to really focus on these moments, being that I think we all need hope. We need to focus more of our brain and attention to the good things that happen, instead of, hardships. And, there are also these moments that matter and have an amazing power for the body and the mind, So working on the concept of memory was really interesting because then I had to work on the concept of forgetfulness. And forgetfulness is taken for granted. It's amazing to forget. I think humans were built to forget some things. And that in our society today, sadly, we have built too many ways to always remember some things that maybe should, there are some beautiful moments in my life. I just do not want to take a picture. I'm not going to be the person that takes my phone because I want to remember it as a human being, you know, not through something that we made to kind of, you know, get back, because you never truly do. Yeah. But with my paintings, I can, you know. I thrive to go back and to remember it like more how it felt than how it looked.
I love that, because you're both being present in that moment as well as kind of collecting.
Yes.
Collecting. And we do instantly, you know, you see people today going around to take a photo, move on,
yes,
without actually kind of taking in the moment.
Taking in the moment.
And even I took Yacout yesterday to Peckham, and she looked out
yes,
at the
which
view.
I loved. I've never been before.
And she looked out at the view and she was like, I'm not going to take a photo, but don't be offended. Like, I just want to be in the moment. And I was like, that's such a touching, touching compliment.
That's the way I function. Because, you know, photos, they corrupt reality, really, sometimes. Unless you're, of course, a photographer of genius, which there are, in which I'm not. I'm terrible. But, yeah, some things are good to forget. I think it's an ability that, you know, we don't use enough. And some things are better to remember than others, and putting the focus into remembering these things more than other things that could have a negative impact. Like, what I want to give to the world through my work is hope, and it's color, and it's truth in a way that brings light. You know, 2026, we need light, we need hope, and this is all I want to give. It's the choice I've made. Like, I want to give hope. You know?
And that combined, I guess that's more of the kind of emotional resonance of people as well. But having trained in Milan and grown up in Casablanca, how do these two places maybe bleed into your work, or how have they influenced you?
So every place I've been and every place I've lived, I was inspired by. And this is why I think humans were made to be nomads. We're made to move around, to travel. Unfortunately, now there are so many boundaries, there are so many, and this is connected to my work, actually, because it's like a cartography. Sorry, I don't know how to
Cartography, very good, easy translation, that one.
Okay, so it's the same. And the fact that the morsels never touch, they're divided. How do you make beauty out of division and prove that even if we're divided, we're connected? This is something that's really important. I think more than anything, being abroad, being from Morocco, learning about different, you know, cultures and traditions, and meeting new people, learning new languages, gave me so much richness. And it also proved me human potential, because we can learn so much. Like, we tend to say that, no, maybe I'm too old to take up this, and to you know, to just start now and to learn the piano. But I think it's all a matter of perspective, you know?
And as a Moroccan artist, how do you feel your tradition, your heritage bleeds into your work?
Well, I'd say it's color. Color is at the core of my work. If there is any craft that I want to push to excellence in what I do, of course I want to master technique, obviously, but if there is anything that fascinates me about art in itself, is the use of color. I collect color theory books. I think that color is a gift that was given to us. It's a blessing to imagine a world with no color. I mean, it's just something that is we're so used to it, but it gives me a sense of calmness, of peace, of unity, and it's the biggest blessing that was given to us, to my eyes. It's the ability to see colors. Yeah, and to feel them, and every color can have different meanings and different shades, and like there are thousands of possibilities. So whenever I'm in front of a canvas, sometimes my head spins, because I'm just like, okay, so what's it gonna be?
Yeah. And I feel like that in your work, we're very much transported. I mean, for myself, I've only been to Marrakesh, but you know, I'm seeing like the color of the architecture. I'm seeing the colors of the textiles, all this richness that comes from Morocco. It's truly beautiful.
It is like we have an amazing network of craftsmanship, you know, with leather, with pottery, with. I'm so proud of being Moroccan in my country, so I might talk about it with, you know, stars in my eyes, let me tell you. But it's, yeah, we have amazing woodwork, we have amazing techniques for ceramics, we have amazing, you know, food. Everything that's made from the hand becomes, in a way, can become artistic in Morocco. So this is why, of course, it's very inspiring and it's at the core of my work. Because I'm so proud to be Moroccan, to be honest. It's a richness that I want to show to the world and the Occident in maybe in a new way. Like this is, you know, also us. This way also is a vision of Morocco.
And I guess thinking of vision, so the works behind us and the one over there, just for the audience, this series is called Poetic Landscapes, and it kind of centers on this concept of a mirage or capturing a fleeting moment. Yeah. Could you talk a bit more about that?
So the word mirage came to me because when you work on, you know, developing your memory, your capabilities of remembering, however hard you try and remember and however close you get, it can never be totally the same as it was, but with truth and honesty and you know, hard work, you can really get close to how you felt in a given moment. You know, how you felt more than what you saw, what you know. Even though there are some colors, to be honest, that really hurt my head, because when I'm done with the colors and I'm like, it's not the right shade, and then I repass like 10 layers of a different green on top of another green, and I get frustrated until it feels that that's how it was. You know, I do this thing with my eyes where I kind of see it but don't see it, like I see a whole. And if there's one color that's misplaced or that was not in the memory, I suffer. I'm like, there's no way. I have to do it over. Yeah. So it's a mirage. However hard you can remember something, it's a new kind of truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that you're kind of taking yourself to a new form of seeing by doing that. You know, you're kind of meditating, like focusing in, but also blurring out and then feeling. And there is also, what is missing.
Yeah, and there is also, I mean, an accepting of letting go. You know, this is as close as I can get. You know, I had a teacher, which I hated, to be honest, because he was a jerk. I was maybe 16 and he was so tough and so mean. But he said one sentence, though, which I'm grateful for. He said, you know, you have to reach perfection to touch excellency. So in terms of remembering, I've always had this sentence, I have to reach for the exact thing, and I will get the closer to it. You know, you will never reach it. You will never reach perfection, like it was, you know, such a French thing to say. But you can get close to it. This is what I'm trying to do through poetic landscapes. You know, their landscape. Like this one is actually one of my fondest childhood memories, because we used to go in the summer in Portugal with my parents and my brother, and in this little, you know, it was a small house that we rented, every year the same, so it was a comfort space, it was a comfort zone. And when I knew I was going to exhibit in London, I wanted to give this memory to here. So I was like, I'm going to put only memories that were super positive. And this one is, because in front of this little place, you know, we had this huge, like, wall with une haie de volubilis, with une haie, how do you say, like when it's full of plants that are growing, you know, all over the wall.
Yeah.
And the flowers so vividly purple, and the greens like changing depending on the light and where the sun is. And when I look at this painting, you know, I immediately go back there. I think that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Like capture these moments
and take us with you as well. It feels like, you know, when I first saw your work in displayed at Basel last year, I just was so captivated by your use of colour and form that I wanted to dive into it. I wanted to live within these landscapes or forms or feelings. And And then I want to connect also to this, this idea of poetry. How does poetry form your kind of thinking as well, if it does?
Well, I think, I had to find a way to make something that would be considered in generic terms as dark. Like, as I've told you before, I came to a certain kind of epiphany, guys, maybe 1 month ago. It was an average day, and I just, sometimes it hits you and some things make sense out of the blue, because I'm always trying to understand my work through my work, Sometimes it's not clear as day, and it has to come out of me for me to get it. It's not you have all the answers, otherwise we wouldn't paint, I think. And the epiphany was that I think that I really feel I was born in 1,000 pieces, guys. And how do you make sense of this? How do you take something that's broken and that's in a million pieces, and it never touches, and there's so much division? And how do you take such a reality that I feel is inside me and give hope through it? And give something that's, how can you say, okay, look, like broken can be beautiful. Broken can be fixed by discipline, by hope, by energies you put into it. It's possible to take something to take something that comes from destruction and build it into constructing something that's hopefully giving the message I wanted to give.
I think that quote, that you said, being born in a million pieces and forever reassembling the self.
These are like all of my little internal islands. I think I just, like, some people ask me sometimes, like, why do you paint? Like, what's the meaning behind it? Which are very generic questions and really hard to answer, because I wish that I had the answers. But mostly it's about mapping out something. All that I do is kind of a map. And hopefully this map is, can map out other people's feelings about something. Like, I'm a map too. It would be my dream that someone would come to me and be like, I feel what you're saying, like I'm a map, like, and I would be like, if you are a map, tell me, what is your map? Tell me, where am I going? Show me, I want to imagine it. Which colors are you? Which shapes? So basically human connection, trying to instill something that gives joy. Something that's not dark. How do you turn something that could be, but choose to make it something positive?
And the form, this kind of repeat motif that you kind of see across the works, this first came to you.
No, I'm gonna tell this story because it's really funny, guys. So basically, we all live with this shape every day. So it's the shape of our thigh. And I think it's an underrated kind of physical organ, I don't know if
Holds
it's called
us up.
It's an underrated piece because it carries us around. It allows us to stay up, and we live with these shapes, we live with them. And I'm sorry, I'm not talking in the mic. I just realized. So when I was in art school, my drawing teacher used to call me Il Cavallo, because I wanted to draw hyperrealism so fast. And you have this class that's basically drawing a naked woman, croquis de nu, so she's in front of you. And, I was so lazy, and thank God my laziness saved me many times in my life. And especially because I found this shape, and she will show you why, guys. So I had to do the drawings, but when I got lazy, what I did was I took the model and I divided her in morsels. So I took the female body, to be honest, only because there were female models. I don't know that there is necessarily a feminist message behind it, except from the fact that I love this shape, but. I divided the body in morsels, and I kept that one. So what you're seeing in these like doorway kind of rainbows, it's like it could be a thigh that expands, the power of what it gives us, where it goes. And then I fell in love with the concept of simply morceling things, of just how can you make unity out of division? I think it's a problematic that's really relevant to the world we live in today. How can you create something that's homogene, something that makes sense and that also can help us find new ways and patterns to explain the world around us and within us?
And I guess moving from the form, I mean, we just spoke a little bit about color in terms of its references to Morocco, and is it that each painting, how do you choose your colors? Where do you begin?
Instinctively. So basically what I do, it's very rare for me to make a drawing beforehand unless I had a vision and it needs to come to life. But basically what I do is I do the remembrance work first. So I'm like, okay, which memory are you gonna tap into? Which ones do you choose to forget? Which ones do you wanna give? So the first work is sitting down and being like, okay, closing my eyes, taking a deep breath and getting back, I go back and I'm like a traveler with a backpack in my own past and subconscious, and trying, of course, to avoid the dark paths and choosing the bright ones. Then I choose a path. I go down there, I close my eyes, and the colors appear. So every color that you see, I mix them. And they come from me wanting to express the truth to the best possible, It's the goal.
Yeah.
This is how they come instinctively. I know if a color is wrong, and I know if it's right.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite part. Yeah, it is.
And with these kind of concepts of memory, of color, of form, of mirage, there's this underlying kind of connection to human experience or human emotion. For the other series, Fertile Rainbows, which is the kind of other smaller canvases you see around us, these are more for you linked to that emotional state. I wondered if you could say.
So this series, I called it that way because I think what I wanted to express through it is that people and humans and situations are so layered that you can see it from a prism but from another, and there is your truth is not this person's truth, and it's not, but they're all true. And how can you show layers and show depth without it being everything, without it being, but make it aesthetical, make it like something that, I wouldn't know how to put the right words to be on. When I talk about it, I get emotional because I always try. It depends, to be honest. In an encounter, I don't always try to peel the layers, but if a person feels comfortable enough with me, which happens often, to show me their layers, I feel humbled and honored because we all have them. And most of the time today, especially, we tend to overlook them. It's like you do not have the patience anymore to even meet someone with the good and the complex and with everything that makes a person. And I love layers. They make us.
And these beautiful gradients, which I feel like are almost a little bit of a trick of the eye, because you think it's a kind of one color gradient, but you're like, oh no, that's actually, it's burgundy, it's orange, and then, it's purple, and then it's the kind of browns, it's earth, it's not what it seems.
It's not what it seems,
exactly.
It's not what it seems. And it's actually the thing I'm the most proud about. I'm proud of myself for that, because I feel like I kind of leveled up color-wise. Like I told you, like it's like in a video game, when you play enough, you level up. I'm a geek, so this is really important in my work, like video games and everything else about it. I love everything about it, but in a video game, basically, when you have enough gear and tools and materials and enough, you learn how to craft things and you level up. I felt for the first time that color-wise, working for this exhibition and for you guys, which is amazing, by the way, I leveled up. Mm-hmm. There was this, I had this feeling when I was done that, okay, Yacout, sometimes you feel this truth and you're like, I want to give a flower to myself.
Yes,
and say,
sure.
Yeah, I'm proud of myself. I've done, it's done. And it's getting exactly where I want to go.
Oh, so
yeah, it's more complex. It's not what it seems. I have developed new techniques, color-wise, you know, through my readings and my idol, which is Joseph Albers, of course, the master of color, and through studying a lot of his work and other people's work as well, like I've managed to, but I have to say it's in acrylics also. So I haven't mastered it, I wouldn't be this pretentious, but I've managed to be satisfied with what I'm doing, which is really hard as a painter, I think, to be satisfied. Like when it happens, you should embrace it, because it's not often that you're, okay, I've done okay. You know, usually you're like, it's like, no, you're never, but color-wise, I was super happy this time.
Stunning.
It worked out fine.
You should take your flowers. It's, you know,
I gave it
proud.
to myself. I was like, Safi, like I'm happy. Good. I'm satisfied.
And how, I guess, thinking more about your artistic process, how do you balance this kind of sense of spontaneity alongside it's very, you know, your work is very structured, it has very definite lines. I know there's like a detailed layering process when how you apply the paint. Take us through that.
So basically, I go with the brush first and with the color. So of course there is gesso. So it's like prepping the canvas so it doesn't, for those who don't know, so it resists through time. So it doesn't crack once it's being stretched on the side. So prepping the work is really important. And usually when I prep my canvases, I already think and I breathe the canvas, you know, I'm just like, okay, so, and I'm already excited about picking up the brush and putting the first brush stroke, because for a long time I had a void where just the idea of a brush stroke terrified me. So now every time I'm blessed enough to be the conduit of what needs to come out, because at the end of the day, yes, we are the artist, the painter, but the art doesn't belong to us, it belongs to the world, you know, it just comes out of us. It's a statement of humankind and humanity, and every time I pick up the brush, it's a blessing, because I feel, first of all, I'm able to paint, you know, it's tiny privileges we tend to forget about. So I prep the canvas, I go with the first shape. So usually my first shape is always mostly the central one. So I start with it, knowing what color it will be and what colors will be around in my head, which sometimes I write down the exact color that I want. And I just, you know, go step by step instinctively. But it's funny because it's really a mix of being so precise and so, because, you know, I work, it's flat, you know, on a big table. So I'm a bit crouched over it the whole day. And it's so precise. And it's funny that I managed to keep some, I think the only way that I'm super spontaneous is through the color palette, you know, and through also the applying of the shapes. Because if I miss like one tiny, and it's just, you know, I take the pen, I do the shape vulgarly, you know, like fast like that, and then I give it the contour, and it's layer by layers. And it's a work that's gratifying because it takes time, but it's worth the time, you know? It's time, to me, it's time well spent. And that's how it is until I'm done, you know? And
could you kind of take us through a day in your studio practice? I know you just got the keys to your new studio,
yes,
which is very exciting.
I did. Before I just arrived, I just had the keys to my new studio in Casablanca, which I'm really happy about. Basically, what I like, the first really important step doesn't happen at the studio. It happens at home with coffee in the morning. Like I need my 45 minutes. I need, like this time it's sacred. I think it's the most, like, if I do not have my coffee in the morning and these 45 minutes to myself, I'm not able to function through the rest of the day in a proper way. So I need these minutes. So it doesn't start at the studio. Then, to be honest, I arrive, I put very often classical music on in my cask, you know, because it's soothing and calming, and sometimes jazz, sometimes Keith Jarrett, you know, Bill Evans. It depends on the mood, but giants that accompany me through my journey. I put the music on, and then I go in how to say, like I'm a machine. Like literally I forget about the world for the hours that I dance with the canvas. You know, it's just there's a connection, and sometimes the canvas is a jerk and you hate it, and of course we need to destroy it when it happens. And I know some people, like my father once was like, no, I want it. I was like, this is my decision. I want to hang it on. No, I will. Like I stabbed it.
You're like, I'll cry if I see that at home.
I stabbed it with a knife so he would stop Safi. It's
wow.
like, it's my decision. But so, you know, you dance with the canvas, you create a relationship with it, and, you know, it gives what it gives. I learn about myself through my work and not the other way around. You know, I think it's my way of trying to discover who I am more than anything else. Yeah. So that's basically a day. Like, I work for hours, sometimes forget to get lunch. But I have Hamdouch, an amazing husband that when I forget to eat, he always brings me to eat because he's afraid for me. That I stay, you know, for hours without like, did you drink water? Did you?
It's exactly what you need. Is
I need this.
Support.
To be honest, I do. This stability makes it so much more interesting because it's kind of, you know. But yeah, basically it's an average day. I work well, like around from 10 to 5 in the afternoon. I'm not a night owl. Like, these hours are like my hours, and I just non-stop. And I love it.
Great.
Yeah. So
and
that's a day.
Other inspirations, I mean, you mentioned you kind of have lots of books in your studio on colour theory.
Yes.
Your love of video games.
Oh,
like,
yes.
How do these other kind of more subtle things
Well,
seep
I
into
think
your work?
every kind of medium in art, and especially in art that want to keep the child in you alive, which, of course, video games are seen in a light that's not necessarily truthful. Like, once again, there are layers, you know, because there are artists behind them. Like, they want to keep the child in you alive, depending on the video game, because I've played like horror video games that are not for children. Like, but it's super inspiring. You get inside the universe. It's like, and people tend to tell me, you know, it's not reality. I said, yes, it's just a different kind of reality. You need to be in the real world, and, you know. And I get their point, you know, at some point, like being in front of a screen. But it's like, you know, these images, like usually AI generated, or drawings of a person in front of a book, and behind the book there's a forest and there's a universe, you know. It's the exact same thing with a good video game. And it's so inspiring.
Well, also, as we were kind of, you know, this whole idea of the concept of memory and re-remembering. And
but they build maps.
Fiction,
you know?
and
the basis of every good video game is like, there's a map. You always have an option to open the map. After, you have open worlds video games where you just do anything you want over the map, and then there are the ones where the maps you need to, like, they take you to specific places without you realizing to follow the storyline. And it's kind of what I'm trying to do. So of course it's really connected. Like, growing up with an older brother, like, who kind of really forced me into video games at the beginning, and I thank him today. Like, every kind of medium that tries to keep the child in you alive will be interesting for me. So anime, I love anime. Sometimes it's really dark, it's really serious, but at the same time, like, most of the time, like, there's this kind of youthfulness about it. There's this kind of lightness, which is good. You know, we don't have access to escape so much, and we try to do it a lot. So to do it through a medium that's made by artists, that's made by people that want to give the same that I want to give, which is joy, light, and it's amazing.
And this,
you are what you eat, you know. So it's the same with the content that you digest, with what you look at, with what you do with your hours, you know.
And I love those kind of, I guess there's themes within that world building, that potentiality, that kind of, on the one hand, escapism, but also on another hand, it's building another realm in which we can be free, in which we could exist, and in which the kind of the pressures of reality melt away, and there is such beauty and potentiality in that. And actually, if we commit ourselves to those other realms,
you just need to look maybe a way you haven't looked before. You know? It's all a matter of perspective. It's all a matter of, and once again, what working and painting has taught me is human potential. You know, how you can shift, how you can make something nice of something less nice, how you can make something, you know, everything's possible if you put your mind, and if you have the energy and the strength to overcome and to do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
This is why humans fascinate me, because we have so much potential and so much resilience, much more than we know. And these are things that we should maybe focus on a little more, because we take them for granted, but it's so powerful.
Very true.
So powerful. If you focus on the good things, if you focus on the content that you absorb, if you focus, like it could shift your, even for a while, because life is hard. But for a while, it can, make you not necessarily escape, because escaping is a term that I would have used maybe in my 20s. But now that I'm in my 30s, I said it makes you travel. I feel like a time traveler when I work.
Okay, beautiful. And with the titles of your pieces, how do you title them? How does the title come to you?
So basically, I try to find the cutest way to name the memory that I've been through. Like, une haie de volubilis à Carvoero is literally the memory that I had. And the smell.
A hedge of morning glories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's basically what it was, And it made me interested in flowers, getting to know the name of it, I remember all about this moment.
And the one over there, a kind of Tuscan sunset.
Yes, so this one, I was atop the Piazza Michelangelo in Florence, which is a piazza where, I don't know if you guys have ever been, which is gorgeous. Florence, I recommend it 1,000 times. It's like an open doors museum. Everywhere you look, there is aesthetic and beauty, and also a sense of mysterious aura about it. And it was about, like, you have to know that in Florence, during the sunset, there's a blue I've never seen in my life anywhere else. So this blue really represents it's a blue, like, you cannot photograph it. Like, if you take a picture of it, it will never be faithful to the real thing. And it was sunset time at the Piazza Michelangelo, and I had a moment of stillness and calm and absolute. I say that in these moments, I don't know if you guys have ever felt it, but I think it's kind of a human experience that maybe we all have felt at some point, where you have the spiritual realm, the physical realm, and the invisible realm. They all perfectly collide and align and superpose. I don't know how to say. They all overlap.
Superimpose, yeah.
They all overlap perfectly. It's like a Lego, like tack. And these moments are so fleeting. Because, of course, if we could be in such ecstasy all the time, we wouldn't be humans, It would, But these moments, like, where everything overlaps, this was one of. This was a moment like this for me. I felt a calmness and a stillness that can only arrive in those moments.
And I guess with us talking now, you give the context to each piece, but there's ambiguity when the audience come to your work, that they don't have the kind of your experience directly. Within that space of audience interpretation, what do you kind of hope that they take away?
I learn more from what they tell me than from what I tell you about it. Let me tell, like, it comes from a memory, but this is just like a seed being planted. The audience makes the tree, they make sense of it. They give it a name. They name it. They look at it from their own perspective. They give form to it. Like, I think art is. I love art that makes the audience participate, that makes them interested, and if not, it's fair as well. It's you cannot provoke a reaction in everyone, and that's totally fine. Because as long as you can do it with a few people that you've touched, and they come to you and they add their stone to an explanation of myself. But of course, they need to come and do it with being genuine, and it's not always the case. And sometimes I do not know really how to respond to some questions. But sometimes, like, I've been so surprised, and amazingly so, like, by people coming and telling me how they feel about it, and I'm like, but this is such a beautiful, like, yes, it makes sense. Like, I'm thankful because I learn more about what they tell me than what I know. So the audience is important to me.
For sure. And I wonder in this context, so this is the first time your work has been displayed alongside Zimbabwean ceramicist Anthony Summers, who's the vessels that you see around us. Yeah, really beautiful pieces. And for me, what's really interesting actually is, I mean, both your approach to color and then also, I mean, you said with the thigh, it's not so much a feminist feminist approach.
I was being honest. Like if it was a male model, like I would have been lazy as well and divided and cut him up in pieces.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it turns out I'm a woman and I have a thigh, so the shape looks like this. But there is. I think like I've been told many times that my work was very, instilled with femininity, with something very cuddly, very motherly. Once I've been told, very warm, very, and so yeah. If this is instilled, it's also the truth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I guess for me, when I interacted with your work and when I learned the form behind it, it spoke to me more of kind of the strength and resilience of women.
But it speaks to a lot of other people, you know, and they're like, Yacout, you should talk about this more. And I'm like, yeah, but I want to be truthful about it.
Yeah.
But you're actually right, because the returns that I have had about what it means to put, you know, such a forgotten component to our lives into the limelight like this, and everybody tells me that's so cool, like for women, because it's also a part of the body that, you know, creates a lot of complex, you know, a lot of insecurities. So yeah, it can absolutely also be read that way. Like this way of reading into it is also absolutely correct.
Yeah, and I love that there's a through line then to Xanthi's work, which has a lot to do with invisible women's labor, and kind of her vessels are a very kind of feminine form of holding and this kind of thing.
So you've been a visionary mixing it, like, I mean, just look at it. Like when I first arrived here, I was overwhelmed by how much sense it made. And also I met Xanthi. She's an amazing woman. She builds these sculptures. She's just recently built a human being. She went on here on Wednesday, and she had just given birth 15 days prior. She's a hero. Like what she's doing, she's so inspiring, and I'm so grateful to have gotten to meet her through you. Like honestly, and also I feel very humbled to be surrounded by such giants, you know. As Ban, or as, you know, Xanthi as well.
Oh,
she's an amazing human and an amazing artist. I'm fascinated by her work and grateful to be alongside her. Yeah.
So I was gonna ask you basically your kind of how you felt when you first saw her work, but I guess as you just answered, how does it feel to be exhibiting in London?
It feels like a dream. It feels like, because for us in Morocco, you know, to be in the Occident, and I would say especially in London, because, you know, the London scene's always been, you know, to my eyes, more interesting than elsewhere, because it's less restrained, less politically correct. It's always been like the British core, you know, at its core. It's like there's this revolt, this anti-establishment, so being here, it's like, for me, I checked the box. Like, this is huge for me. This is, and I thank Chile, Elizabeth, Eleri for finding me. I thank you guys for this experience.
It's been a pleasure,
honestly. Thank you, and I am honored, humbled, and you are amazing humans, and it's been a bliss. It's been an experience I'll never forget.
Oh, I'm so
That's for sure. So how I feel is honored and humbled.
Yeah.
And proud to be able to showcase a little morsel of my country, Morocco, which I love more than anything in the world.
And I guess beyond this exhibition, beyond London, what's the kind of a lifetime goal for you and your artistic career?
To keep on being truthful, to keep on being true to myself, to my values, to my the most I can. And for now, it's the case. Like, alhamdulillah, like I have nothing, like I've met only amazing people, manifested only positivity. What I want more than, you know, saying, you know, it's less, it's more with myself, what I want for the future. Keeping true to myself and always like pushing the truth to the maximum. If I manage to do that until the end, I will be good with myself. These are the goals.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as you are kind of building your career, what would you say to your younger self? I guess, what would you have said to the 21-year-old or 20-year-old previously?
I would have told her that the idea of arriving shouldn't be about how fast you do it. You know, life, I don't think it's a race of being fast, but it's a race of being able to endure. C'est une course d'endurance, pas une course de vitesse. I don't know really how to translate it, but I will tell her to endure and to... I wish I could hug her, like I'm kind of doing it inside right now, like, and tell her that there are gonna be times where life will make you wanna give up, and not giving up is the key to being where you wanna be. So I would tell her to keep on, you know, looking forward, and whatever bad it is that you're going through, it's gonna pass. If it's not important in 1 month, it shouldn't be right now. This is how I think, you know, like to try and stop myself from being in pain. But I tell her not to give up, to keep on protecting her dream. Because at the end of the day, we tend to forget to protect them. And it's the key, you know. We all have dreams and that need protection, not destruction. They don't deserve to be forgotten, you know.
Definitely.
So I'd tell her to hang on, and I'd say to her, thank you.
And what would be maybe a word or a feeling that you hope either people today or people in general take away from your work?
Joy. Honestly, a moment of relief, a moment of recharging color-wise, a moment of disconnection maybe, and just pure stillness, calm, joy, and peace. That's all I want to give through my work. It's the choice that I've made, and the part of me I've chosen to give the world. It doesn't even belong to me. Beautiful. It belongs to the world, you know. I have a friend of mine that told me once a really inspiring thing, because I was struggling as a young artist to make peace with selling my paintings, because you're like, I'm selling my soul, and you know, you're kind of tunnel visioning on this concept. And he told me, no, Yacout, you're giving your soul. You're selling your hours, the work you've put into it, your time. This is what you're selling, your craft. But the soul, it's a gift. It doesn't belong to you. You're given it. And he solved the dilemma that day.
Oh,
like
bless.
He solved, like I was like, you know, these kind of, you know, exchanges that are life altering really, because I was so conflicted about it. And yeah, it doesn't, like, it's out of you. It's like when you have children, I imagine. I'm not a mom yet, but once it's out of you, it doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to the world.
There you go.
You keep, you know, it's a piece of you, but it's not yours.
Yeah. Well, we've definitely had a piece of you this week, and I love that, and I've been so energized by your energy, and I'm so grateful to have met you and learned about your work.
I'm grateful as well.
So yeah,
thank you so much for everything. Like it's a beautiful human experience.
Oh, good. I want to open it out to the audience. If you guys had any questions for the wonderful Yacout, there'll be my microphone going around. Yes, please.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to London.
Thank you very much.
So
I've had a really warm welcome so far.
Really good to see you.
Thank you.
So I had a question that it was really interesting to hear you talk about Morocco, and you know how proud you are about all the traditional arts and crafts and stuff. I was wondering if, I mean, obviously you don't know in the future what you're going to do, but do you see yourself moving on to working with other materials than paint?
Yes, actually I do. I've worked with ceramics, which we have a special kind of ceramic in Morocco. God forgive me, I forgot the name. But basically, when you cook it, when it goes in the oven, it has this unique hue that comes out green, and it's tamasluht, I believe. It's a ceramics that really is embedded in the true meaning of what Morocco is, you know. Of course, I would love to work with people that do embroidery. You know, I'd love to try a lot of things, but the problem of expanding the research and of trying materials, and it's something that I'm highly, you know, I'm all for it as long as it doesn't turn into something that's going to be decorative. You know, when you work with materials such as these, it can very fast turn into something that's decorative, and art shouldn't be something about the decor, you know. It shouldn't be there to embellish or lie, you know. So I think it's going to take me a lot of research to find a way to take these materials and find ways with them to use them in a way that I'm satisfied with them, that I think that I'm creating something that's artistic and not craftsmanship, even though the two are linked, there is a very fine line, you know, but there is a big difference to me. So a craftsman, to me, he's an artist, depending on the mastery of his craft and his craft. But a painter, you have to be a painter. You have to keep true to the profession, you know. It's kind of my vision. So with materials, I'm gonna be careful about it, but I really want to. Like if I can have, you know, local things intervene in the work and in a way that works, I'm all for it. But it's gonna take a lot of research.
Any other questions?
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Esther. Thank you for that wonderful talk, and thank you to Eleri for bringing this to the gallery. I saw the show for the first time yesterday, and someone was asking me just by email, oh, what's the new show like? And I just said, it's energy.
Thank you so much.
Into this room, and it's beautiful energy, and then go through to James Barnett and see the energy of his work as well, and the people in it. It's really, truly a beautiful show.
This exhibition, it feels like a voyage, you know?
Yes,
it
absolutely.
Does. It feels like a voyage. It's very so joyful. Well curated and so on point.
And I just was very curious about the relationship of your paintings when you are painting them. Are you working, obviously you're going back into your memory, are you working at one at a time? Is there another one on the wall? Are they speaking?
One at a time.
One at a time, so you're
one
really solely immersed?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've always worked one at a time.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Always.
Yeah, I was just curious of whether...
I wouldn't be, like my brain would split.
Yeah.
I would like, you know, one eye, like impossible.
And are there other works on the wall, or are you completely...
Yeah, like in the studio, yeah, yes. As I work.
Yeah.
But it's more of a... Sometimes I need them to stay with me for a little while before I say goodbye, but I've learned to detach, you know, like if I put them on the wall, it's mostly so they do not get damaged.
Yes.
So I hang them. Like some of them, I cannot look at them after I'm done with them. I need to roll them and like send them away, you know. So it's each one by one. Sometimes I hang them on the wall. And when I need to have a vision, you know, I kind of have it in my head already. And one by one. And some, like, it's really rare. But I've kept 2 canvases that I've done. Which like my sensei would tell me, because I was like advised and accompanied by a fantastic man. He's an Italian artist and sculptor and was a teacher at the School of Fine Arts, which took me under his wing, and today he's my professor. I owe a lot to him and I want to honor him today. His name is Nicola Salvatore and I love him so much. And basically he told me like, cerca non trova. You need to search, not find. Like, I don't care what you find. And also, he told me something really important, like, once it's out of you, it doesn't belong to you first, which, I mean, I kind of felt it, but he put it into words. And the paintings you have the most difficulty of separating with, you have to separate from. You have to. You know, he's really rough about it, and I'm like, there are two I couldn't. I'm hiding it from him. Kind of, I'm like, these two, like, I put something inside of them that was so personal, that was so embedded within myself, I couldn't get to separate from them. I think that I want to keep them for my future children, maybe. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, so that they have their own collection. For now, there are two. Yeah, that's it.
I think that's okay.
Basically, that's it.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for the question.
Yacout, thank you. Looking at the rainbow, the aura series, one of the most important colours, obviously, is what you'd call the ground, which is the background,
Yes.
the entouring colour. That gives a sense to them. But you said that you begin with the knee shape in the centre.
I begin with the
Yeah.
one in the bottom and the middle.
The shape. So in a sense, they're extensions away from that colour towards the ground.
Yes.
Do you, when you start, know what the
Yes.
ground is?
Yes.
You do.
Yes.
So in fact, each of the colours in between,
I mix them all before I start.
you do.
I have them all in front of me, and I change the shades as I go, layer by layer, to make them match.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know?
Okay. So
But
there is
these
already.
series, I have them all beforehand.
Have you ever done anything where it just developed by itself?
It will be in my next show, hopefully. Like, it will go all over the edges. Yeah.
And just because you're talking about colour and being a colorist,
Hoping to be.
well,
I hope
well,
to
it-
be
well,
seen
colour
that
is-
way.
colorism, I think, chooses the person rather than the other way around. How about black and white?
I
you
never
worked-
use black.
Have you worked in black and white? as well?
Never.
Okay.
Like, there's only one that I've done a long time ago, and once again that I wanted to get rid of, but I'm thankful that I didn't, and my father forbade me, and he stole it.
Your father showed it to me,
Yeah.
and he said he thinks this is one of your big works.
Yes.
That's why I wanted to
He's
ask
not
you.
the only one who told me, but the idea of working with black is not something I master yet. I'm not brave enough. Black is like it's going to be a huge challenge in my career.
Yeah.
I know it is, because I have difficulty with it, and it will take me a lot of time and research to find a way to make something joyful out of black. Like, this is gonna be a challenge, but I want to take it on. Like, I will try to do it, but so far it's kind of a point of pride that I don't use black in my work.
Well, your father showed me that piece, and it was something that made me immediately understand what you were saying earlier about being a divided self that's trying to
Yes,
recombine.
that one
And
especially.
that piece has all those things in it, which is why your father took
It's
it.
funny you talk about it, because it's one of Nicola's favorites, the man I just told about,
no,
talked
no,
about.
it doesn't
So
surprise
but it's like, I've made drawings and preparations for future shows ahead, and this is definitely gonna make a comeback, because I've had too much good, returns about this work that you're talking about, that I was like, you know what, Yacout, it needs to make a comeback. I need to push it further, of course, because it was not finished when he stole it from me. He literally stole it. It's the only painting I've ever used black on. Only one. Yes.
I wanted to ask you one question. I think it's also about color. It's also about paint. So when Eleri took me to see your paintings in Basel, I looked at them, and the one thing that struck me most was the surface of the paintings. They were so fine, and the color had seeped into the canvas magically that I do not know how you managed to get the color onto the canvas. So that fascinated me, and still fascinates me.
I'm so
too
honored.
now.
Thank you.
It's almost if I looked at pure color without the interference of somebody putting it onto the canvas.
Thank you
As if-
so much. Like,
as
this
if
is
it-
one of the incrediblest things someone ever told me, honestly.
So it's almost like color standing by itself. So, yeah, you don't have to tell us how you.
No, of course I can.
How that color gets onto the canvas. It's just
No, I
something
can. I can
that
try
really
to.
struck me.
Okay, so basically, I think that what gives this smoothness and this sense of unity is the pencil, like the brush that I use. It's important. There is also the pigments, like some colors. I buy all my acrylics from Sennelier because I believe that it's really, the quality of the materials are key when you want to take your craft seriously, I believe. Like, it's not something you should, calculate the costs about, to be honest. It's something like, you want quality work, you need quality materials. Today we have amazing options. So I get my paintings from Sennelier, and through my travelings, because you cannot find a lot of pigments without iron in them. In Morocco we have pigments, but the ones that work best in my, like, sometimes I mix them with the acrylics to give them more power and depth, and I mix different brands. And but there is something that happens as I put a layer on top of another. So each color that you see, basically, it's minimum 5 to 6 layers each. But this thing that you're saying and describing to me, Elizabeth, it really happens when I applied the last layer. And sometimes I get exhausted at a color because I have to mix a lot of it, because if I have to remix it, and it's not the same like it. But I always know when it's the last layer. And sometimes I want to lie to myself because I'm lazy, and I'm like, oh, this layer killed me. And like some colors, they take at least 10 layers, and I'm like, but it's always gonna be the last layer that brings the magic of like, you can take the color and bite it raw. You know what I mean? And it's this last, like, you have to go with it until you arrive to this layer. It's the most important one. So I think that the key to obtain this kind of effect is the layering, really, and the honesty with yourself, and to keep on putting the layers until, you've reached the color's full potential.
Thank you for explaining that to me, and also for talking about Sennelier. That's a brand in pastels that are also very much adored because
They're
of the
excellent.
purity of the color.
They're excellent.
Yeah.
Their pigments are fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Great. Unless there's any others. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Yacout.
Thank you
the
guys
audience. Thanks
for
everyone.
everything. And it's been a blessing to have you all here today. I hope you weren't bored, hopefully, and had a good time. And thanks. It's been my pleasure.
Please, enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you so much.